Well, hello there, motherfuckers. And I felt inclined to talk about the Madison Square Garden show. No, I didn't watch the whole show, but I saw what happened. I did watch one clip on YouTube, and that was Stone Cold, moderating the contract signing between Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman. AJ Styles came out for some reason. And, he had Luke Gallows with him and Carl Anderson. So we were going to talk a little bit about what I saw here, because I think there's actually quite a bit to talk about here. Now, I mean, it was simple in design. Seth Rollins comes out there and basically says, "I'm not going to stab you in the back, but I'm still going to be champion. Ha-ha!" And we've got Braun Strowman still talking like this. Fee, fi, fo, fum. Okay, that's not as bad. I'd rather, Braun doing the monster voice, which is pretty cheesy. It's like, why can't the guy just talk like a human being? Like I said, we should be like post-kayfabe right now. With all the nonsense in Braun Strowman about like a year or two ago talking about bullying on IG, I think it's about time we move past this nonsense, where we gotta pretend that these guys are characters and everything. Because let's face it, wrestling is a bit different than your average, drama on TV or your average sitcom. It's something a lot different. So, but the story here is, so they're going to be wrestling at Clash of Champions, and of course I could go on all day about, Seth freaking Rollins going against Braun Strowman looking totally ridiculous. Now, I think it's quite obvious that Brock Lesnar will probably interfere in that match, because I can't see them having Seth Rollins pinning Braun Strowman clean. I mean, maybe that will happen, but what I am seeing, like, in my mind, is that they're probably gonna have like a triple threat match or something like that at Survivor Series, or something like that's going to happen. Unless they're going to do, champion versus champion again at Survivor Series. So I don't know. So maybe they'll do it at Hell in a Cell. I don't know. Whatever they end up doing, I know that Brock will be factored into those plans in some way, shape, or form. So forget about the match, because who cares about the match? It's probably going to blow anyway. But we got Stone Cold Steve Austin in the ring. This is something that's rare, The last time we saw him, he was on a reunion show, but, he wasn't really a part of any storyline or feud or match, He was just kind of there as a prop, He did do a promo to end the show, but, come on, he's just there for, like, celebratory reasons. It's not like he's there, like, as a part of the show. Here he was actually, like, a part of, like, the goings-on of the show. It wasn't like to celebrate and say, hey, look, we've got a bunch of legends, a bunch of guys that are way better than the current rosters. It wasn't like that this time. I mean, but there was deceptive practices here, because, we're back at MSG, and, I've always said this, why wasn't Stone Cold all these years? Like, why wasn't Stone Cold appearing? Why wasn't he doing, things behind the scene? Like, he could have returned to the role of a GM. He could have, like, done some type of authority figure role. He could have done something. You could do a lot in the wrestling world without actually having to step into a ring, because, most of the art form is on the mic. I know a lot don't believe in that concept anymore. But Stone Cold, they, like, completely forget about the guy. They air his podcast on the network every now and again. But aside from that, like, from this being one of their most successful superstars and a guy that made them so much money, they should be bowing down to Stone Cold. They wouldn't even have a network, if it wasn't for Stone Cold having all those great moments that they could bank off of. So, they're back at MSG, which I don't even understand, like, why they're back at MSG, because I understood why they weren't, because Vince McMahon said that he was basically losing money, or he wasn't making a profit, because they weren't doing televised shows, they weren't doing Raw, because MSG wanted too much money to broadcast from MSG, so it didn't make a lot of sense to put, Raw in MSG if that was going to happen. Now, it's disappointing because, some of the greatest moments of all time happened in MSG. Hulk Hogan winning the world title. Numerous different events occurred in Madison Square Garden. It's always considered to be like WWE's home. So you think maybe they would have had like a great show plan or something like that, but we all know better, right? Don't we? So at least they got Stone Cold Steve Austin for the show. They booked it. It's like, oh, hey guys, buy tickets to the show because Stone Cold Steve Austin is gonna be there. So I think they had him announced a few weeks in advance. Maybe because the show wasn't selling out. I remember seeing tickets being available for quite some time, during, the earlier part of the summer when they were first advertising the show. But anyway, let's get down to the meat of the segment here. So Stone Cold, he negotiates he moderates would be the proper term, the contract. And I'm looking at Seth Rollins and I'm looking at Stone Cold Steve Austin. Seth Rollins is a guy who's 20 years younger than Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold is jacked. He's in tremendous shape. He looks way better than Seth Rollins in his CrossFit physique. It's just, I'm sorry. I can't say that Seth Rollins is not in shape, but here's Seth Rollins holding 2 belts, and not only just 2 belts, but, okay, the tag titles, whatever, but this guy is one of the world champions. On the flagship show, he's on Raw, the show that the WWE cares the most about, and, he's standing next to a former champion, a guy who hasn't held the belt in the WWE in just about 2 decades, really. It's just right around the corner. Last time he held the title was in 2001, right? So, 18 years ago, it's almost 2 decades when you really think about it. Man, how time flies. But Seth Rollins, Stone Cold, side by side, and, out comes AJ Styles, and, AJ is back to being a heel again, which is much appreciated. But, the insults, Stone Cold, insults AJ on his way to the ring, and he goes, "Why don't you shut up?" And okay, it's how much more basic can an insult get? You think back to how the big stars would do it, The Rock and even Mick Foley. The insults would have a sting to them. Even the heels. When they would when Triple H would insult The Rock, it would make the crowd go, ooh, they really jabbed them good. Here it's then he gets in the ring and he calls Stone Cold an old fart. I mean, okay, that's a bit of an improvement, but can't they do a little bit better than that? So it just devolves into a fight. Stone Cold ends up getting the stunner on AJ Styles. And once again, I just feel like it's really unfulfilling. It's not like this is going to lead anywhere. Stone Cold got the stunner in MSG. Oh, this gives us memories of when he used to do it back in the day. So, that's all it is. Once again, another nostalgia pop, another nostalgic moment. But next week, it's going to be back to business. Stone Cold won't be there. AJ will continue his feud with Seth Rollins. And, we're going to go about our merry way of back to the mundane. Not like this was anything too great. Stone Cold being there adds something to it. And he doesn't appear that often, which makes it feel a bit more special. Which is why I'm talking about it. And, this is the first Raw that they've done at MSG in the decade, so there's a bit of history right there. So, and also, can we talk about Luke Gallows? I know this has been going on for a month or 2 already, but what's up with the Barbarian face paint? I feel they realize that they're not working as a team and they're not truly over with the crowd, so they're like, hey Luke, Why don't you put on some face paint? Okay, well, why isn't Carl Anderson, his tag partner, wearing matching face paint? You know, this cheap, you know, discount store Road Warriors barbarian look is not working here. First of all, like, I don't even know why we need to pair up AJ with the OC again, because, like, he didn't need them to begin with. It's just, I guess it's more for the OC than AJ. It's more for Gallows and Anderson than it is for, you know, for AJ's benefit. You know, it's just giving them something to do. And so, you know, this is the funny thing. They're all wasting our time here. Here we are again. You know, last year called, around the same time last year, right? Wasn't Braun Strowman getting world title shots? You know, and so, like, these, you know, remember, it started the same way as it did this year, right? Let's think back to 2018. How did Braun Strowman start off his year? Well, he started off pretty strong, right? And then it devolved into him winning a tag team belt with the same belts he's got right now, but he won it with that referee's son, right? And so, and then, like, later in the year, he had like a Hell in the Cell match against Roman Reigns, and then, you know, they he got, like, screwed over, right, by Baron Corbin for the title, right? And Brock Lesnar beat him again, winning the title again. So, you know, it went like in one big loop again this year. You know, so Braun didn't even make it onto WrestleMania this year, and here he is again now getting his title shot. But remember, he's always late to work, so they're not going to give him the belt. So they're wasting our time with predictable matches. We already know that it's that time of year again where Braun Strowman is not going to win the world title, and they spruce it up and try to distract you with Stone Cold and MSG and everything. So the only thing that we take away from an MSG show was Stone Cold with the nostalgic Stone Cold Stunner in the world's most famous arena, and we have a member of the Boston Celtics, you know, winning the 24/7 championship. What a great episode of Raw, guys, right? What a way to reintroduce themselves to the MSG crowd in the first televised event they've had there in over a decade. If you can't sense the sarcasm, then you probably can't sense any sarcasm at all. I mean, like, come on. This is the best that they could do. This is the best they got. What a joke. What an undeniable joke. Well, anyway, guys, there's my thoughts. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all the notifications when I post all my new videos. Also, guys, give me a follow over on Twitch, which is, you could go to twitch.tv/TheBradRulesLive and enjoy some live streams live. Or you can watch them archived here on this channel. I've been posting them all since I started doing them. And guys, thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.